to tangent from magic to something kind of opposite. I wanted to talk about logic.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about, you mentioned that before. Yes, logic. I wanted to talk about logic. And like, kind of like, first explain to me, what does logic do to you? And why are you so interested in that kind of field of studies?
So I expect, okay, so when I say logic, so there's like two ways, this word can mean two things. One is like the way that we use every day, of like, it's logic, or I use logic or whatever, or it doesn't make sense. Like, and there's the field of logic, which is, which basically the way I view it, this field is, its purpose is to realize and fix all of the, I'm not sure how to say, the mental leaps that we do, the mental fucks, you know what I mean?
I know exactly.
Which we have so many.
Yes.
So many of the conclusions we come to are based on their wrong deductions, wrong forms of thinking. And I think personally, and why do I find it so important? Because at first, by the way, I used to not love it. Because I'm very artistic, I'm very free, and logic is very strict. It has both. But I saw the importance of it. It was like ambition that drove me, and now I actually like it. I enjoy it. I think not all of the world problems can be solved by logic, but all of the ones that can be solved, okay, I will frame it differently. We can't solve everything with logic, but everything we can solve is with logic. Okay, no matter what. If you're parenting a child, and the child is going through something and you don't know how to help them, you might not succeed. Logic is the way to go, and what is he experiencing, what helps those kind of situations, and you analyze it. And if you're I don't know, you're creating a commercial, okay, what is it's the exact, and no matter what relationship, you run a country, everything is logic. And I think, yeah,
I completely agree. I think for me, I agree with you. For me, there was a battle because I'm a very creative person. I'm a very like spiritual person. So it's like, to me, logic was very like hard for me to grasp. But then I think my brain worked at the end was where it's just two ways. The right side of my brain, for the rationale, there was things to be explained. I think that's why I love science. That's why I love interviewing like professors, because I'm like, okay, explain to me how this actually works. A lot of my feelings, not in my wise think, not my logical lapses, like my emotional, like, how does that actually work? And I'll explain to you, okay, if this is what I studied, this is what I found. I think that's so fascinating because it gives you an idea and knowledge about the world, and you can see how you can improve on which parts, I think, for me, like you mentioned too before when we were speaking, about persuasion, how important that is. I think persuasion is super important right now in the world because there's so much information being thrown at us. To differentiate yourself, you have to be logical and like understand what you're trying to say. Yeah, how do I persuade someone? Understanding that, you can understand how people do it. You can understand how you can use the industry. Do you understand? Do you agree with that? Do you think? And question follow up to that. What do you think is something like persuasion? Like, how do you think that's like for you has been used, or how do you think like being persuasive has helped you in life?
Persuasive, you mean like convincing?
Convincing, yeah.
It helped me a lot. Like a lot of things that indeed were really depend. Like, for example, the audition to Penn and Teller, they posted on their Instagram, we have no room for card magic. We already have too much, and my trick was cards.
Yeah.
But I said, okay, we'll go there anyway. I will persuade them.
Yeah.
And I came and I said, listen, I came all the way from the other side of Spain on a 1 hour notice, ran to the train and did this, and they were like, okay, show us the trick. Okay, this is good. So, and even that, it was based on my question. If you break it down, you can understand, okay, why were they persuaded by it, and why did it work?
Yeah, break it down for me. How would you persuade someone? If there's something like that example that you use, that's a very good example. How to lead of your passion. How do you, if someone's in a situation where they need to persuade, let's say a job interview, like how do you get across how much you care?
So I think one of the branches of it, because there are many methods in step, but one of the branches of it is you either need to find a solution for the other side's need, or create a need and then find a solution for it. What do I mean by that? Let's try to find for example, I used to work as a substitute teacher in Israel at like elementary schools, and they were two kids were speaking and they needed not to speak because they needed to say something for the whole class, and they were interrupted in the class. So it's either I break them down, and then they will hate me, they will sit against each other, and you can do it, but it's, or you need to understand, okay, what is the need that makes them talk to each other? Maybe I can answer this need without them talking. They will have the same experience with a different thing, okay? Like cooking. You cook and let's say you cook and you add tomato sauce and it works. Okay, maybe something with similar flavor with tomatoes will also be tasty. So I thought, okay, why are they speaking with each other? Why? Okay, they want to be together, they want to do something together, and they don't want to be alone and listen, for example. It might be many things, but one is it. So instead of telling them, okay, be quiet, and they want, I say, okay, be quiet together. Like watch for themselves. Watch that he's not talking. Watch that he's not talking, and for 2 minutes, and then I will. So you replace their need, or also when you do like social campaigns of like not commercials for a product. Like for example, I don't know how quickly can I. Okay. Let's say you want to do a campaign against bullying. Okay? How do you start? You say, okay, why do bullies bully? Why do they do it? Okay, so let's say I will do it on a very superficial level to not speak for an hour. Let's say they want to feel strong. Okay, so you need to talk to this. You need to replace, you need to let them still feel strong because that's what they need without bullying. If you let them stop bullying, they won't because that's what gives them what they need. It's like me being hungry, you tell me don't eat. It's either you give me something else that would fulfill my hunger or I will eat. So for example, you can create a slogan that use it, that make them believe that they're still strong. For example, you can say that if I can find a quick one.
If you like that, just thinking.
You can say, don't bully, you're stronger than that. And it's like, first of all, I'm strong. I don't need the affirmation.
Yes.
I don't need the affirmation of the side that I'm picking up on because I'm already strong. Second of all, true strongness is not picking on you. It's being stronger and stuff. Or let's say, horrible example, but okay, so let's say what's the breakest one is a control on the other side. Okay, before you control someone else, control yourself. And then, okay, it's like, so you have to, so that's only one way to use logic. Different problems has different equations and you have to use logic, but in a different way.
Different ways, yeah.
But it's like, okay, if you want to make someone do something, he needs to either want or needs to do it. So you need to give him that need or give an answer to the need that he already has. And there are many different equations for different stuff. If your child feels lonely, okay, what causes loneliness? Okay, what's the opposite of what causes it? How can you give it to him? How can you? So it's very simple. It's very logical. You think about it, it's like, what are you talking about? Of course. But until you start to implement it on everything that you do, you don't realize how much you don't do it in your day-to-day life.
100%.
You just act on instinct.
100%.
You imitate what you saw. Only when you analyze things carefully and analytically like this, you understand the solutions are done. You sit with pen and paper for 10 minutes and you solve very complicated problems.
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's also like an aspect of like personal evolution that comes with it too. Because you're right, when we're so young and we grow up, we just hear all of this information that's been given to us, and we just kind of, like you said, we get into a habitual thing where we don't really like think about it. Yeah. We just kind of do it over and over again. But then when you start applying logic to your scenario, it's like, wait, why do I do this? Why do I sit on my phone and just like scroll every day? Oh, because they made these apps so that they can like attack my dopamine systems. Yeah. No way, I should probably be careful of that because that's gonna fry my dopamine systems over a longer time. My attention span is gonna go low. I used to like reading, but I don't read anymore. Oh, because all I did was TP, and these things are way more easier to digest. I don't remember anything. So maybe I want to get back to reading because I always want to remember the stuff that I read. So all these like understanding that and applying these kind of like systems, I call it the systems kind of like just based on systems. I call it like understanding your systems and being able to implement it. Yeah. You can like figure out what systems control you. So that's your habits, how you think about stuff when you get up in the morning. For me, it's like also like spiritually, like how you look at the world, how do you interact with people, how open you are, how, you feel about yourself, which means you know, you feel something about someone else. These things can be kind of like applied logically, or you can think about, okay, what's the best way for it?
Yeah.
What's the best way for me to find a way to, like, you know, kind of like be people. You know, for me, I've understood it to be compassion. You know, like and that's what the question I will get into now too. Like this idea of compassion too. I think the whole world is losing that. I think there's an aspect of like, you know, like we spoke about the logical side of it. Sometimes it's too logical. Sometimes it's too much like, oh, it's me versus you. You know, like we think about ourselves. We don't think about the rest of the people. You know, but so I feel like the compassion with human beings is being lost. You know, and there is a need for us to bring that back within the next person we speak to, because without compassion we start like breaking off into groups, and when we start breaking into groups it's not good for us because we can't live on this earth by ourselves. We need to come together in order to move forward, strive forward towards a peace, strive forward towards something that all of us can be proud of, to be part of the human race. Otherwise it's going to be just downhill, and then all of us, what was the point of us, you know? There's the idea, you know. I think compassion is at the core of that. What do you think about that? What do you think the word of compassion is and has been in your life, but also just in the world at large? How core do you think that is, or do you think we can get a future where we're going towards it?
I think it's this thing that removes your guards, and then if you see things clearly. That's, I think, the most important thing if you think about it, not in the personal level, but in the world level. It's like, if you don't have compassion for a thing, for someone, we don't have all of the fears coming, things like, why is it even my problem? You feel compassionate towards someone, towards a group. You can, okay, I decided that I care about this group. At least, I care a little bit. And then, okay, maybe something can help.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And yeah, I think people that feel good are good. And the more they get compassion, the more they feel good, and then the more they have compassion to give also. And it's I don't think it's a stopper. I think it encourages good things to happen. I think some people, especially today in the social media productive age, it's like love and compassion is like a thing that you do, I don't know, in some tribe, in some country, or I don't know. You say, maybe in Vietnam they sit on the river and give compassion to each other, but here compassion doesn't get things going. I think the opposite. I think compassion and love in general, positive qualities, positive acts, can persuade other people and can move things, can move mountains. Generally weaker than the negative things. Negative things can destroy, which is not the same thing. Like, to build is much harder. If you have a tower of cubes, there are only a few angles where you can put it and the tower won't fall. But there are infinite angles you can put it and the tower will. I can put it there, it won't be a tower. So if you're negative, you can make tremendous changes. Even bigger and faster changes than with love. 100%, that's what I think. But they won't be to build. With love and with patience, I think you can build things that are more positive and that lasts longer. Not necessarily change more, but fix more and build more.
I agree, 100% agree. I think currently we live in a world where people are trying to destroy. They're trying to destroy the systems that came from. You know, I'm a religious person, and I've seen like how they done it to reduce religion. You know, and obviously there are negatives with religion. There's negatives with everything. Any human made is gonna have negatives because just too many people for it to all be viewed in the most possible way. For it to all be viewed in the same way that helps people, and then because of the negative way, it's easy to destroy it, to reveal it. This thing was supposed to be pure, but we've just kind of destroyed it, and then we're trying to build something in its place. We're trying to and I think that's a difficult thing, because when we destroy what comes into this place, we don't even know. We just want to destroy it for the sake of destruction.
Exactly. And then even if someone comes and builds, it builds on the destruction.
On the destruction.
Or on the bad fundamentals that the other guy left.
And then that's always going to be flawed.
Yeah.
Because somebody's going to come back, and it's going to be the same thing. Endless cycle human beings seems to go on.
Yeah.
What do you think, the question I have for you, what do you think is something that we don't understand as a human species? What's one thing that you wish everyone understood about you as a being? If you had a very big question. I like big questions in this podcast.
I think a specific thing that I learned from Logic, which I said, but I was said in a different way, that everything is made of things. Okay, it may sound abstract, but it's getting really practical. Okay, like you say compassion. There isn't such thing as compassion. There is, because we called it that way, and we took a certain elements, certain qualities, certain things, and we called it put it in the basket and called it compassion. Now there is a thing, but the most basic form of compassion is not compassion. It's lies on a lot of other. This is what it's made up. And if you believe in God and things that are not made by human, then those things are facts, or stables, or like forces of nature, so like gravity, and you can use those things like not any way that you want, because you have limits because of the way it works. But nothing is nothing is okay. This is that. And when you understand that you can
Take it apart.
yeah, take apart everything, you also rebuild it.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty abstract, but I think it's like trying to find an example for it.
I think I know what you mean. So let me see it if I think you mean that like everything, and like your example of compassion, everything is built up with things. So like the little actions, little things that we do, little ideas. That's why I come into it. So like the idea of like a God, or the idea of something like that, you take that, you kind of like, you can strip it apart to what the actions, what would that be like? What would they want you to do? And then compassion is made up of those things. So it's like, if you really want something, you really care about something, break it down. Yeah. To like first principles, I call it. To the first idea where that they came from, then you can build it. And so like, we care about things, if we should think about where they came from and how we can like put the stuff together and like make it into what it is. So, the things are sustained by the things that hold it up. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think and the levels that it goes are so deep, and all of the branches, all of the billion branches of the world, of like so different cultures and emotions and experience and people and history, all comes down to very few things that drive everything, which are basically our needs, our needs, our desires, which is also our need. That's the basic formula. You see, okay, what needs that this answer to? Okay, how can I shift it, replace it, build it, and make it bigger, keep it still, and it's literally about everything. Like a fight is not a fight. Okay, when you fight with your partner, it's not a fight. It's okay. It's the way that this satisfaction shows. It's not even the dissatisfaction itself. It's only the way that it shows. Okay, it shows in screams. Why does it show in screams? Because psychologically, when you say something louder, you think maybe you will get heard. Okay, but then you understand. Saying things louder doesn't make people understand. Might make them fear, and even that, it's not like a fact. You can break it down. Like why does saying something louder doesn't suddenly make people understand it? Why would it? Okay, it's the same thing. You say the same thing. Maybe it will make them feel it, but they won't understand the claim that you're saying. And then you build it, and then you can understand. Okay, what is a fight? Okay, what does fight come to answer? Okay, and then what is a good fight? What is a bad fight? And if you combine the acceptance of that you're a simple human, and that you need to fight, and you need to scream, and you need to be human. You can't be a robot, like in any way. But it gives you this balance that you don't get lost in this phase. Don't get lost into, wow, this fight and this. It's like you understand what everything is made of. You're not scared of it anymore because you understand it. Things might still not work, but you know the general idea of how to fix them, and know that if you don't fix them, it might not be your fault because you understand it so well and you tried so hard and it still didn't work. Maybe it was too complicated to do at that time.
Those are tried you has, right?
Yeah.
What if you look around, or what gives you hope? What gives you hope and makes you feel like fuzzy about how the world is and human beings?